The hours, so I was I mean, I was there 4 years. I was active duty, so there was no, you were never really off in that 4
So you
years.
never got to go home?
I got to go home for so it was always around your deployment. So you'd go home for maybe 2 weeks, not even, just before deployment, and then when you get back from deployment. I couldn't put in for leave requests in between that. You could put in for them, but you wouldn't get them. Yeah, nobody would get them. Not in my unit. They tried to do that on purpose so that you had leave built up to where you could go home before and after deployments. It was few and far between. Got really homesick. So the hours were just constant. Even the weekends, you would technically sometimes, most of the time, you'd get off. Sometimes you wouldn't. You were still, you could be called in at any moment. So.
Okay. You said, you just mentioned the homesick thing. Was it like really hard at first, like your first year, just like being away from everyone? Like,
oh yeah.
You know, it's
I mean,
totally different life, I bet.
Oh yeah. You go from being a high school kid thinking, gosh, I want out of Aurora so bad, you know? And then you leave and you're gone, and then you can't go back. They're not letting you go back. Like, there's no return. I think that's the difference between a college kid and a military kid. Like, you go to Lincoln, or even if you go to Iowa, you can come home pretty much whenever you want. Yeah. You're not stuck there. Military, you're stuck there. There ain't no coming home. So it's a long time. You don't get to choose when you go home. You know what I mean?
Is there like one of those, you know, like in those movies during the camp, like if you can't, like if you're not able to do it, like you have to ring the bell?
Oh, so like SEALs, I think.
Yeah,
the SEALs have that. The thing with them is that's a specialized training within the Navy. So even if they ring the bell, they're not out of the Navy. They just are out of SEAL training. So they still got to go back to whatever unit and do their Navy stuff. No, we didn't have that. Once you signed that dotted line saying you wanted to be in the Marine Corps, they owned you. I mean, you were government property. They always claimed if you got a sunburn, you could get in trouble because you just ruined government equipment, essentially. I don't know if there's any truth to that or not.
Guess if I ever join, I'm good. I don't get some.
There you go.
I think most of these questions on this page we kind of went through, because you said you were stationed in California.
Yep.
What was your unit name?
1st Battalion, 5th Marines. So I mean, I kind of got some of that stuff here.
Okay.
Do you want me to go through it as we?
Yeah, we can.
So I've got 3 things here. This is called a shadow box. A lot of military guys have it. It's just kind of, I hang this in my office, so at work. Okay. So 1st Battalion, 5th Marines, this is our emblem here. Our saying was make peace or die. It's kind of cool. The 5th and 6th Marine Regiment are the only ones in the Marine Corps with this fourragé. That's from...
Where does that go?
It goes over your shoulder. It's kind of like a fake whistle, if that's what you want to call it. It's French fourragé. Yeah. There's...
Is that top picture a picture of you?
Yeah. These all yeah, so I'm here. These are the saw gunners. We had 3 in our platoon. So you can kind of see that machine gun. All 3 of us had one. This guy's no longer with us, so it's a cool picture. And then it also shows, that's what all the structures were. So you see how it's like mud? That's a house. So there's no wood houses. It's like you step back in biblical times. Everybody's walking around in homemade clothes, homemade sandals, bearded with their turbans. It looks like you step back into like a page of the Bible. But there's no wooden structures. That's all mud, so it's really dense mud.
Looks like a lot of like vine and everything growing up.
Yeah, that's how they would like build their roofs and everything. Yeah, crazy. This kind of shows, you can barely see the people patrolling, so it kind of shows our spacing when we would patrol. And that's it was just flat, kind of like Nebraska for me. Not all of Afghanistan's the same. Some had mountains, some had cold weather and everything. Mine was hot and desert. It was flat. You can see this cornfield that they're walking through. We introduced corn to them. So as you can see in this picture, that's marijuana. There's a lot of marijuana, a lot of poppy, like heroin. Heroin comes from a poppy plant. So it was all drug stuff that we were kind of dealing with.
Is that you in the picture?
That's
You
me
just
in
took
the
a picture
picture,
of it?
yeah. I mean, to see a marijuana plant that's taller than me was kind of crazy.
That's crazy.
And there's fields of those. That's just one plant. There's just fields of plant. So we tried to introduce corn instead of heroin and marijuana to try and get them to do it more, but they would just rotate. So they would do corn and then they would do their drugs, and then they would do corn and then they would grow their drugs. So it didn't. I mean, it kind of worked, but it's weird. So like you're used to rows here because we have planters.
Yep.
This is all just sowed. Like they throw it out. They just throw the seed, the corn seed, out throughout that whole field.
So like it's not like
no rows.
So you can like not see through it at all.
No. We hid in it a lot because it was perfect cover, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is some Afghan patches I traded some dude for. Yeah.
What are those two medals?
These here?
Yep.
So this is just the Afghanistan campaign medal. And then this is your rifle expert badge. So there's different, there's 3 levels. There's expert, marksman, and whatever else, but I never had the other ones. I was an expert the whole time, so I didn't know. But there's sharpshooter and marksman, yeah. So expert was the best. There's a second award for that, and then these are ribbons. So that first one's the only one that matters, in my opinion. That's a combat action ribbon.
Which, the little tiny blue one? The yellow?
Blue, yellow, and red right there. They're about this long. So that first one there is the only one that matters, because if you don't have that, you didn't see combat. So some people went to Afghanistan or even Iraq and they never got that. And that's how you knew, like in my opinion, that's how you knew somebody's a grunt or special forces or something. It's separate. It's a sense of pride, I suppose. Separates the rest from those of us that went and did stuff. Somebody starts telling stories about what they did over there and they ain't got that, they didn't do anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's kind of like you can call them out, kind of.
Exactly.
Okay. See. So you said you were one of the first Americans to be there, right? So you were pretty much the front line.
In our area, yeah. So we had been in 2000. I mean, we had been there 8 years at that point, but nobody had pushed to our area. So it was the Nawa district of the Helmand province. It was called Operation Kanjari, which translates to like tip of the sword, I think. So we, my platoon actually went first. So they sent 30 of us to Nawa from that Camp Leatherneck, that big base. They sent actually 60 of us, so 2 platoons. They sent us first. We took over a school, so we were in a helicopter company, which meant we fast roped out. So that thing you climb in gym, that big rope, that's about how big. So we would rappel out of those helicopters into our area. So we went 2 weeks before everybody else. So if my unit is 1,500 people, they sent 60 of us first. So we went first, and it was like a mind warfare. So the thought was, we send 60 of us, they attack us a bunch. They fought us every day for those 2 weeks, and then 2 weeks later, the other 1,500 come, and it was the largest helicopter assault since Vietnam. Just wave after wave of helicopters dropping people off, and so it was supposed to be mind tactics. You know, it was supposed to mess with them and then think, oh, we're just fighting these 60 people, no big deal, we can handle this. Now 1,500 other people come.